one of the things that open the door to Satan in people's lives is a background in occultism or false religion. You see, when you or your family or ancestors involve yourself in occultism, you give the devil legal rights to come into your life, to steal, to kill, and to destroy. Of course, many people don't know that that's what they were doing when they did it. Many people don't know that when they sign up to be part of some occultic group, that what they're doing is giving the devil a legal access into their lives. But whether you know it or not does not change the fact that the enemy comes in anyway because of the open door to steal, to kill, and to destroy. You see, the book of Exodus chapter 20 from verse 1 to 5 has something to say about us avoiding any kind of idol worship or any kind of idolatry. In Exodus 20, he says, "And God spoke all these words, saying, I am the Lord your God, which have brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make to you any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down yourself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children to the third and to the fourth generation of them that hate me." He says, I am a jealous God. And God, because of him being the God Almighty, will not permit you to serve any other God. Now, when you involve yourself in occultism, that's what you're doing. You're worshiping other gods, you're serving other gods, and God says it is forbidden. Now, examples of cult will be things like Rosicrucianism. It will be things like the Masons. Then you also have Mormonism. You have Jehovah Witness. You have palm reading. That's all occultism. When you give your palm to be read by a palm reader or by a psychic, that is occultism. And God will not permit that. Then you also have the tarot card reading. And among Africans and Caribbean people, you have what they call the bush bath, where they are asked to bathe themselves in certain things, and certain rituals are done, maybe for protection or to bring some good luck into their life. What people don't realize is this, that whenever you go to the devil to get anything, he gives you something in return. In reality, what he gives you is more bad luck into your life. The devil cannot set you free. The devil cannot help you. What he does is transfer problem from one area of your life to the other area of your life. So if you go to him for health reasons and you want to be healed, then he takes the problem from your health and puts it in your children. So as far as you are concerned, your problem has been solved because the health problem is gone. But what you don't know is that the problem has been transferred to another area of your life. And then later on, you come back again and say, oh, but my children are acting up now. Then they transfer it from your children, they transfer it to your business or to your job. And then you go back again, and then you keep going, and of course they keep getting money from you. So be careful of all these occultic practices. Now you have those cults that comes out of Christianity. They originally were part of Christianity, but then somehow came out of Christianity and then start teaching things that are contrary to the Christian doctrine. So you have, for example, Jehovah Witness, or you have Mormonism, and there are many other cults like that. They came out of Christianity, so they have a form of Jesus in what they say, or they may mention God. They may mention terminologies that are used in Christianity. They may mention the word salvation and things of that nature. But be very careful. Just because somebody mentions Jesus does not mean that they actually really worship Jesus. Just because they even carry Bible does not mean they actually worship God. And I'll talk more about that in a few minutes. But you see, another thing I want to draw your attention to is the psychics. Now, many people will go and visit a psychic and they'll say, please read my palm, tell me about something that will happen to me, tell me about my future, tell me about what's going on in my life. And then the psychic then will tell them something. In some cases, the psychic will tell them something, and what they say is right. And people are easily deceived by that because they say, wow, this psychic must be of God. This psychic must be very powerful or something for them to have told me something, and what they said was right. Now, I want you to know this, that just like God can see, the devil too can see. Just like God performs miracles, the devil also has his own form of miracles. So, because a psychic tells you something does not mean that the power that they use is of God. The devil too can empower people to be able to see things, and they will tell you accurate things about your past. So when they tell you these things, don't be deceived by that. It does not change the fact that they are of the devil. So they tell you these things and it comes to pass, or it is true, or maybe they tell you about your past and you say, oh my God, this is very right, this is very correct, that is exactly what happened, and people are deceived by that. Don't be deceived by all those things. Those are lies. And those powers that they use is not of God. But you see, by you going to them, what you're also doing, apart from getting a so-called reading, is you are actually now opening up your life to the devil. So if you visited psychics, I can tell you this, you have given the devil legal access into your life, and those doors that have been opened must be closed. Now, another problem that we have these days is also the fact that some of these psychics or some of these people that use the demonic powers, they operate out of churches. They may even start a church, quote unquote, and they will put a name, they'll give the church a name that sounds Christian. They may use Jesus in the name. They may use church in the name. They may use deliverance. They may use healing in the name. They may use even salvation in the name. And you are deceived by that. You say, wow, but it is church. They say it is a church. And they may call themselves pastors. They may call themselves prophets or prophetesses. Or they may call themselves reverends. And people are deceived by that. Let me let you know this, that it is not by miracles that you know who is of God. It is by their fruits. Because anyone can come and do some signs and do some wonders. Not every sign and wonder that is done is actually done by the power of God. Everything God does, the devil tries to duplicate or try to bring a counterfeit of it. And we see the example in the case of Moses. Moses, a servant of God, God used him to perform some miracles when he went to bring out the children of Israel from Egypt. And you know what Pharaoh did? Pharaoh called his magicians, Pharaoh called his sorcerers, and he said, hey magicians, hey my sorcerers, you come do the same thing. And guess what? They did the same thing. Not with the power of God that Moses served, but with the power of the devil. So again, just because somebody does wonders and does some signs does not mean that they are of God. You know them by their fruit. I've heard about people in New York City that call themselves prophetess or prophets, and they can tell you stuff, and what they tell you will be accurate, but they are involved in credit card fraud. They are involved in all kinds of fraud. Now, how can someone who is of God be involved in credit card fraud? So it tells you right there that although they may be able to perform some signs and wonders, they are not using the power of God. They are using demonic power to perform these things. So be careful. You have them all around us in New York City. Some of them, they wear white garments. You call them white garment churches. And many times they will have some kind of name that kinds of give it out. You know, they have spiritual in the name of the church. Be very careful. We have all around us botanicas in New York City. You have all these religious bookstores. What I usually tell the Life Zone church members is that when you see a bookstore that is supposed to be a Christian bookstore and it has religious bookstore as its name, be suspicious of that. Most of the time, if not all the time, Christian bookstores will not call themselves religious bookstore. They will say Christian bookstore. But you have all these religious bookstores all around us, and when you go in there, what you see is they sell items for witchcraft. They sell items for Santeria, for Obia, for voodoo. So they are not the Christian bookstores, they are religious, and the one who doesn't know their Bible, who doesn't know the difference, who doesn't know their life from their right, just goes with anything. If it sounds religious, if he has anything that mentions Bible in it at all, if he mentions Jesus in it, they are deceived by that. Be very careful. A man came to me. He had been going through stuff and he had joined all kinds of occultic group. Anyway, you know, when he came, we talked and he realized that he had been wrong for joining all those groups. I mean, they didn't help him at the end of the day. He has spent money. He has wasted his time and his money. But at the end of the day, his problem was still the same. As a matter of fact, his problem God was. So as we were talking, and he came to the Life Zone Church, and through a simple prayer, he felt a relief already. He felt like things were leaving him. That, you know, he felt light. He felt like the burdens and the yokes were destroyed. Now, He called me later and he said,